Okay, I'm right out of surgery. They just let me dress myself, and this arm is completely worthless. I cannot move it one little bit. If I get my hand around here, I can move it, but it's like having a 10-pound tuna hanging off my shoulder.
Can I get you dressed now? Please?
So, Chrissy's trying to get me dressed here.
Yeah, got it.
So this arm is just worthless.
No. Stop.
So I can't even dress myself. Anyway, it appears everything went according to plan. I feel no pain whatsoever, and my fears, I guess, were without
Unfounded.
They were unfounded. I'm gonna reach down and push the button here. Good morning, my dear friends, and welcome to Rich's Shaving Den. I'm your host, Rich. Today's shave is brought to you by the Prix de Provence number 63. We'll be using the matching, well, they call it eau de toilette, but it's aftershave. The instrument today is a Radium. It's a French-made blade, but it's made with Swedish steel. This was one of two. I had two of these, and I gave one to a dear friend. I hope to see him someday back on the boards, Nate, when he was in the Navy. When he got out of the Navy, I gave him the twin to this blade. And he moved to Arizona somewhere, Bull Goose, I think, or Bull Whip, or it's right there on the border between California and Arizona. And we've not heard much out of him since. But I'm hoping that he finds his own and he finds his way. And I loaded this brush and there's nothing coming out of it. So I'm gonna hit the product a little more here. Give it a good 30-second load too. But this is a triple milled soap, so maybe I wasn't doing it right, holding my mouth correctly or something. It just made kind of a colored water there in the bottom, no suds or what. So we're gonna let her have it here. That's one of the good things about being non-scripted, and this is all shot live with a single take. We're getting a little better suds off the top of the puck, and despite having used this a number of times, you can still see the ghost of the 63 still on top of the puck. Probably can't see it. Well, you might be able to. It says you can see kind of the ghost of the 63. This stuff is lasting forever. If you get one of these, it's okay because it's great soap and it's going to last forever. There we go. Now we're making some lather. There's nobody more surprised. Well, you guys may be surprised to see me here today, but I don't think anybody of you is more surprised than I am. I had a shoulder procedure done yesterday where they knocked me out and straightened my shoulder out. It's called manipulation under anesthesia. Up until yesterday, I couldn't the movement of my shoulder was severely limited, and today it's just super stiff. It's not near as sore as I thought it would be. It's stiff and sore, but I can move it more than I could before. So me and the ice pack are going to be great friends today. I'll be sitting in the front room most of the day. After I do this film here, I'll be post-production on the iPad, getting everything together, and we'll post it up there. The doctor, when I was the first his first procedure of the day, I told him that I couldn't get in to see the physical therapist right after like he wanted me to. He wanted me to go straight over from the hospital straight over to his clinic and have his physical therapist work me over. And I told him that they didn't have any slots open for me. And he says, "Oh, we'll see about that." And he disappeared for a little bit, and he came back and says, "You got an appointment for 1 o'clock." So that was a little bit of time. There was a time lag between when the procedure was done. It only took about 15 minutes. And when my appointment was, so we went to my mother-in-law's house, and I conked out on her sofa, and I conked out real good. So Christy poured me into the car and took me over to the clinic, and they loaded me up into a wheelchair and wheeled me in and poured me onto the workbench. And I don't have a whole lot of recollection of what all they did to me, but apparently it didn't hurt because it didn't leave much of an impression on me. I think today, if they were to do it, I'd feel a little bit of discomfort. They did leave Christy with a sheet of exercises I'm supposed to try and do, and so I did a few of those this morning. And they want to keep the shoulder joint moving so that it doesn't scar together and freeze again. So I'm being good. I've already done one round of the exercises. I'll do them again just before lunch, or probably one after dinner. And then tomorrow I have a masseuse coming over, and she's going to work me over. She promises she's not going to make me cry. And we'll see how that goes. Keep it all loose. Then Monday and Tuesday, more therapy. And then we'll see how much more I need. But they want to keep everything moving so I don't refreeze. I don't know if you can hear that, but this blade is super hollow ground, and it's a Singer. I slept sitting in my recliner last night. I think I slept pretty good. They gave me some pretty powerful pain-killing pills. And I'd never used a CPAP in a seated position, but I did anyway last night, because that's another thing they recommended. Said I use a CPAP, so that I did. I'm not one to really want to try and reprofile a blade, but this particular one has got kind of a weird profile. It's hard to see because it looks pretty straight, but it has a bump, then a valley in the middle, then another bump. So I'd have to knock this part down and this part down a little bit in order to make it straight, or maybe a smile to it. It seems to kind of gather the whiskers together, and it doesn't affect the shave in any way, so I don't really have a good excuse to reprofile it, because it's good and sharp, and the bevel is good. They meet in the middle, so there's no roughness or smoothness problems. So I might as well just keep it as it is. I reckon it is, because it was a new razor when I got them. They have because these were my first Swedish razors. I named them. This one's named Elvin. Elvin is this one's name. Ellis is his brother's name. They had different handles in them, but the blades themselves are twins. When I was done with the procedure yesterday, I could move my fingers a little bit, but boy, my arm, they'd put a nerve block in. It was a shot in my neck about here, and my whole arm was like a dead fish hanging off the side of my body. No amount of trying. I kept it in a sling most of the day. I didn't take the sling off until fairly early in the evening, and then I could move it a little bit, just kind of jiggle. This morning I can move it, but it aches. And it doesn't have complete range of motion that it did yesterday, according to the spouse unit. Because I was so relaxed on the table, it just flopped all over like a big piece of string. She didn't have any trouble whatsoever moving my arm around, whatever she wanted to do. It was cooperating. So we'll see how it does on Monday. Strangely enough, the pain isn't in my shoulders, way out here on my deltoid, way out here. Thankfully, the ice packs I picked up are huge. They're I think 18 by 20. They're enormous, and then no matter how cold they are, they're in the deep freeze right now, they're still pliable. I have a couple of days worth of sumo wrestling recorded. This is the March Basho in Osaka. So I'll be watching a couple days of that. There's a couple of wrestlers that I follow, and I hope they do well. It's a round robin. There's no elimination or anything. It's just whoever gets the most victories. Everybody wrestles 15 times. So 7 or 8 wins is what you're shooting for, at least. You want to get at least 8 wins so that you maintain. As sharp as that was, there's still a little yunk here, so I think despite my still being able to move, I'm gonna still do a quick cleanup with the slim. There we go. That's what we're talking about. I'm going to clean the workspace up, and I'll be right back with you. And we're back. Turned out to be a pretty successful shave, just a DFS. I wouldn't expect it much better than that. I'm still kind of shaky, but today's shave was brought to you by Beauty Province number 63 with their eau de toilette, so which means most of the aftershave part was accomplished by Thayer's, and then the smell good parts came from here. Continuing in to break in the Sterling fan Badger. It's coming into its own. It keeps getting bigger every time I use it. It just keeps flailing out there. Very pleased with that. And we use the Elven steel, or it's a radium with the Swedish steel. It's got some neat work they did on the spine, and they a lot of times you'll see a crosshatched work here, but they actually knurled the top of the thing here. There's a lot of workmanship put into this razor. I'm very pleased to have it. And And then, oh, I didn't do this. Now this is the part that got me real good the other day. I have my talcum powder in a, this is a small replica of a Japanese stew pot. And I just dip my little brush in there and see how much powder this thing holds. And then it goes flinging all over the place. I may have to break down and get me an actual powder brush. I'm about as pretty as I'm going to get, which isn't saying a whole heck of a lot, but I'm glad you guys came to visit me. I'm here every other day. There are other people who do record their shaves every day. You'll see me mostly on the Shaving Cadre, but you'll also see me on Facebook or YouTube, and occasionally I'll post something on Facebook. Look forward to seeing you again next time, and happy days. Bye bye now.